Holiday Monday.
This is LWT on the final Sunday before the capital votes for London Mayor.
Hello and a very warm but rather wet welcome to Super Sunday here on the south bank of the Thames in the heart of London. These are historic days as we approach the climax of the first ever election for London's mayor. Some people have already cast their votes, but the big polling day is this coming Thursday. To celebrate this unique occasion, we've dropped into the buzz and the excitement of the Coin Street Festival. Keith!
Yay! Yes, me, Keith Chegwin at the Coin Street Festival. We're going to be getting involved in the hub, chatting to the public and more. It's a great event. A lot of people think it's only for today, but the whole event actually runs from now until September. Join me when we should be having a look at some of the art, some of the greatest arts around. Mucker are on stage at the moment. See that lady there? Look, she's dancing. Do you remember the group Hot Gossip? She's Tepid Rumour. Hey? Anyway, we shall be looking around at some of the bands, chatting to the people. I shall be chatting to the stars of Casualty, EastEnders and Blue Peter as well. But right now, a man who's a star in his own right. Yes, brother of Julie, the one and only Gag a Minute, Ken Andrews.
Thank you, Keith. Cheggers still playing pop. Hot news from the front line. It has stopped raining and the sun has come out. Down here in the heart of the festival, there are loads and loads of stalls. They're not selling things. What they're trying to do is bend the ear of the politicians. The mayoral candidates are going to be coming down here this afternoon. Let's just try one here, the Bankside Residents Forum. 5 seconds. What's your beef?
We want the mayor to keep Bankside a really unique place for all Londoners and stop rail track destroying the heart of our area.
Now, they're going to be trying to have a chat with the mayoral candidates, and we will be speaking to them as well later on in the programme. But first of all, Miles, where are you?
Well, I'm just down here by the Oxo Tower. Great atmosphere in this area. We got a fabulous big screen. We got face paintings. And talking about paintings, behind me is this fabulous mural. We've got a team of people headed by Frank here. Hi, Frank. Hiya. Signs of Life, that's the name of your team.
That's right. This is a group of teenage mural designers, and we design T-shirts, we do graphic design, and we get commissions in for the young people, and they get paid for their work.
And here's a talented young person, and your name is?
Leon.
Well, Leon, I might just well be helping you paint the mural. Any tips for me?
No, yeah, be a good artist when you'll be able to do it.
Well, superb. We're going to be trying to do it here this afternoon. Back to you, Natasha. So,
Thanks
Leon.
very much, Miles. Well, our guest reporters will be right here in the heart of the festival as they take the pulse of public opinion on this last weekend of the mayoral campaign. And there's no one closer to the beating heart of the city than Heart Radio's John O'Coleman and his comrade in arms, Erica North. Hello, welcome to you both.
Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon.
Thank you very much indeed. Nice to have you. Yes, it's brilliant. Now, I rather expected you to chuck your own hat in this ring.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was very close to actually running for Mayor of London, because there's so many of us foreigners around us, New Zealanders, Australians, people like me who were actually born here, but Erica actually talked me out of it because she said that I wouldn't be able to go around just kissing babies and shaking hands with people. I actually have to come up with a few kind of actual promises. But I think it's going to be very exciting. I think it's great that a city as wonderful as London actually gets a proper mayor and a whole sort of proper council. So I think it's quite an exciting, like you said, a very historical time for London.
Erica, if you were mayor, what would you do with this city?
I think transport would be my first thing, because I actually don't live right in the heart of London like young Mr. Coleman here, who lives in leafy North London. I live out in Ickenham in Middlesex, and so the commuting is a bit of a problem for me, especially as I travel in at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I've just got to ask you, what is this gent like in the mornings? He always sounds so chirpy, but is he really? Isn't he a bit grumpy?
He has his moments, I have to say. He usually comes in his shorts and no shoes. That's the thing.
This is the perfect weather for it, though. I'm going to say yesterday was fantastic. Today is going to be great, and there's lots and lots of people. So if you are at home thinking about what to do, get in the car, bring the kids down here, and have a fantastic time. But I think, you know, I would, if we became Mayor and Mayoress of London, I would get rid of Mondays. Every weekend would be a long weekend, and I think free transport for everyone, free lunches for everyone.
Maybe you should have stood. I would have voted for you on that one.
I wouldn't have stood. I would have just sat down a lot.
Public opinion, that was brilliant.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Jenna and Erica. Now, altogether, 11 candidates are fighting for the mayor's job. But what about the London that they're going to inherit? Josie Derby of Channel 4's Bigger Breakfast explains why, of all the cities in the world, this is her favourite.
Well, that's me finished for the day at the bigger breakfast, but I've still got enough energy to zip you around my favourite city. Yeah, sure, it has got its problems, but it's still the best city in the world. It's London. So why is it the hippest city in the world? Well, for starters, it is the fashion capital. Also, London boasts some of the best bars and clubs on the planet. All of that, and it is restaurant-tastic. Do you know that in this area alone, there are over 6,000 restaurants? That's made me hungry, but no food for the wicked, because there's a lot more to see yet. Of course, one of the sights that draws the crowd is Buckingham Palace, which is what I've come here to see today. And as you can see, plenty of other people have come hoping to catch a glimpse of Her Royal Majesty. Did you know Buckingham Palace is actually back to front? That looks like the front of the building, but it's actually the back entrance. One thing I've got in common with the tourists is I will never tire of trying to make these guys move. Hi. God, you look young, don't you? You're about 18. You will find it hard to beat the shopping in London anywhere in the world. Big designer names and high street stores. London has got everything. I could certainly spend all day, every day on this street, Bond Street, but I think I've maxed my plastic. When you've exhausted yourself with the sights and sounds of London, then you're going to need to put your feet up. So put them up in style here at Fortnum and Mason's. You'll be certainly in good company. Charles Dickens, he's had tea here, as had Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. It's first-class service and they spoil you rotten. Yes, London is definitely worth celebrating. So let's pop a cork. London's great. Let's make sure it stays that way. Thank you. Cheers.
And one man who thinks London is wonderful is Frank Dobson. Frank, how are you?
I'm fine.
Will you be glad when all this nonsense is over?
Well, I'll be glad when the election hearing's over. It's gone on for more than 6 months. But I'll also be glad when we've sorted out London's housing problem.
Because that's why we're here at the moment, to talk specifically about affordable housing. Let's talk to a couple of people. First of all, Jovan, you're a teacher, aren't you?
Yes.
What are the main problems facing you with affordable housing?
Well, most teachers can't actually afford a mortgage in London at the moment, and that's what the main problem is. So we've got a real problem of people moving out of London as teaching professionals and not being able to afford places outside London but not in London. And a lot of us would like to stay in London and do a great job in teaching the kids in London.
Now, Frank, what would you say to that?
I entirely agree with it, and we've got, in recent times, the massive increases in house prices and rents have been driving out of London a lot of people whose presence here is absolutely crucial. Teachers, nurses, police officers, all sorts of people. And that's one of the reasons why I've been pressing the government now for a long time, when I was in the government and since, to introduce ideas like either low interest or free mortgages for people, also changing the planning rules so that we get bigger planning gain with affordable housing in big new developments. And in relation to teachers, one of the things I'm really pursuing and have been pursuing very hard, which we did at a primary school where my old children went years ago, and that was, instead of having a schoolkeeper's bungalow in Holborn, I suggested that they built a block of flats, and the schoolkeeper got the flat at the bottom, and then there were other flats for teachers in the block above. And that school has not had a lot of teacher recruitment or retention problems. And if you look all over London, there are single and two-storey houses for schoolkeepers all over the school sites, and I think something should be done on those lines.
Well, it's not just teachers. You mentioned police officers. Glenn Smythe, you're chairman of the Met Police Federation. From what you've heard from the candidates, is there a lot in it in this election for police officers?
Well, potentially there is, and a lot in it for the people of London, because the issue of housing, the issue of allowances that are paid to people in the public sector, particularly police officers, is very important, and the same effects on police officers and teachers are there. We have many of our newest officers who stay with us for a very short time, just over their 2 years, and those that have actually got more service than that and are leaving and joining forces in the provinces or leaving altogether, they can't afford to live.
But briefly, is there anything between the major candidates, is there any difference in their views on what they do with the police in London?
Well, there are differences in terms of how much money they are going to raise, how many officers they intend to recruit, and of course crucial to all that is those officers being able to afford to work and live in London.
What would you say to that, Frank?
Well, again, it's a point that I've been making ever since the Tory government, of which Steve Norris was a member, took away the Metropolitan Police accommodation allowance from new recruits. It's left the newer people in the Met about £4,000 a year worse off than they would otherwise have been. I've been pressing while I was in the government for that to be restored. I've been pressing it since I resigned to fight this campaign, and I'm confident that that will be restored. And it will be a step in the right direction, but only a step.
Frank, final question very briefly. A week from today, if you are not Mayor of London, what will you be doing?
I'll be very proud to be the Member of Parliament for Holborn and St Pancras South. Most people interested in politics will be delighted to be just an MP, and I am.
All right, Frank Dobson, thanks very much. Now, over to you, Natasha.
Thanks very much, Frank and Ken. Now, the Coin Street Festival helps promote a wide range of entertainment and arts here on the South Bank. But Coin Street is also about the notion of creating a thriving community here in the inner city. With me is Adrian Evans, who's helped stage the festival, and Ian Tuckett from the Coin Street Community Builders. Adrian, if I can start with you, it's a bit of a rainy day, but certainly worth a visit, don't you think?
Absolutely, yeah. No, we've got a whole day of events here. We've got bands playing in the background, 4 bands with London Sounds. There's street entertainment. There's over 100 issue stalls here, and it's a day of fun, so come on down.
How do you think it's going so far?
I think people are really reacting well to it, actually. There's all the issues here are part of London life, and I think that it shows the rich range of issues and campaigns we've got here in London.
Now, Adrian, you can get into the bed with the mayor somewhere. What's that about?
Well, I've been there already. It's like a seaside stall, and also today you can make it's a quilt. It's a huge, great quilt, and you can come down. You can make a square for the quilt, and you can have your picture taken in bed with the mayor.
Ian Tuckett, just very briefly, you're responsible for the community, well, a little bit of the community around here. Can you tell us what they're actually like?
It's a fantastic mixed community. I mean, we build housing courts for people who are in low-paid employment, mostly the people who can't get in elsewhere. But there are also things like, smart restaurants, cheaper restaurants, and festivals and so on. So it's a very mixed bit of London, and very unusual for the centre of London to be like that.
So worth a visit today, but any other day as well.
I think there's a programme of festival days throughout the year, and it'll be great.
Gents, thank you very much indeed. Well, Miles is out there somewhere. Hopefully he's found a dry spot.
Well, I'm
just
painting this mural. I've got extra help from Leroy. Am I doing a good job, Leroy?
Yeah, you're doing all right.
Thanks. I'm going to leave it with the professionals. Thanks very much indeed. Lots of interesting people here, and the crowd are buzzing here at the Oxo Tower. Are we enjoying ourselves? Yeah! Brilliant. Now, there's a group of people that have been enjoying themselves all afternoon. What are you about here? National No Smiling Day. Okay, very good. What are your policies for us this afternoon? Excellent. I totally agree. I mean, give us 3 reasons why you feel so strongly about what you're supporting. Excellent. Okay. We're trying to get into this. I think you should all lighten up, soak up the atmosphere, enjoy yourselves. What do you think back here then? Okay, well, we seem to have found a group of people that are enjoying themselves. They have their policies. The British League of Pessimists. Just give us a little insight into your background then. Okay, well, what I say is, if you can't beat them, join them. That's what I'm going to do for now. See you in a sec.
Good luck to you, Miles. Well, over there, somewhere on the sound stage is Keith. Can you hear me, Keith?
Just about hear you. Mucka, who are on stage at the moment, are just about to be finishing their set. You may think that there's the stars of the show, but these are the stars of the show. Hello! A cast of thousands. What's your name?
Brenda.
Brenda, nice to see you. Brenda, look into the camera over there. Tell everybody you love them.
I love them.
What part of the world are you from? What are you from,
Windsor.
London?
From Windsor.
Oh, I say from Windsor.
Yeah.
I bet you live in a bungalow.
No.
Who have you brought with you today?
This is my family, my son, daughter-in-law and 2 grandchildren.
So a cast of thousands. Are you actually enjoying the Coin Street Festival?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's a bit of a bore? Be honest.
It's good.
Yeah, what have you seen? What have you done then?
Oh, we've been up on the London Eye and we just strolled down and having a look around all the stalls and listening to the music.
And spending all your money and enjoying your time. Yeah, okay, well, you may think the public are the stars, but we've got a real star. Look at this guy over here. Hey, come close to camera. Tell us a bit more about yourself. What's your name?
I'm Bill.
And Bill, you've actually been on TV before, haven't you?
Yes. About 4 times.
What have you been on, Bill?
Michael Barrymore show, My Kind of People.
So what did you do on the show?
I sang.
You sang?
Yeah. Yeah.
What sort of? Could you sing for us now?
Yes, I'll do a couple of bars for you.
Oh, go on, give us a little bit of your rendition. Go on, away you go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the afternoon's beginning now.
Oh, what a beautiful morning.
We'll be coming on stage.
Oh, what a beautiful day.
This is really sad news. We've run out of time. How unfortunate for us. Here's Natasha.
A future #1 there, I'm sure. Now, after the break, we'll be finding out what celebrities like Harry Enfield and Denise Van Outen are looking for from the Mayor. Plus, lots more. Stay with us.
Last year, NatWest helped 67,000 people break away and set up their own business.
UK Plus is the only top 10 UK search directory edited by people in the UK for people in the UK. So you're more likely to get straight to the information you need. And because all of our sites and links are pre-selected and checked, you're less likely to bump into something unsavory along the way. So the next time you're on the net, just type www.ukplus.co.uk. Sit back, relax, enjoy.
At Specsavers, you can now buy spectacles with very special lenses. They're called reactions because they react to light. So you only need one pair of spectacles for all conditions, day or night. Reactions lenses from Specsavers opticians usually cost £45, but now, if you buy complete price spectacles from our £69 range or above, we'll fit Reactions lenses free of charge.
You've only got until May the 1st to enter the draw and become an internet millionaire with BT. And there's no such thing as a rollover in this promotion. Someone is guaranteed £1 million. All you have to do is visit btinternet.com, answer a few questions, and you could be the one counting the money.
Andrex is soft, strong, and now it's this much longer. Andrex, soft, strong, and now even longer.
OnMail is the new way to email anywhere in the world through your TV.
Green button down one, and we're ready to type the message. Email's been sent.
Oh yes, it says you have email. Ta-ta-ta-ta-tan. It's a non-digital one. Hi, big boy. What have you got cooking tonight?
To find out more about OnMail, call 0808 100 0101 now.
Especially if it's from the wife. It is from the wife.
At the MFI Homework Sale, there's up to 50% off, plus an extra 10% off sale prices. But hurry, offer ends 3rd of May.
Welcome back to a very damp and a very wet, but nevertheless a super Sunday here at the Coin Street Festival, right in the heart of London. Just days before the main vote for the city's first ever elected mayor. The candidates haven't been shy in coming forward with their ideas on how to improve the capital, but what would you want? We've been asking some famous and some less famous people for their views.
If I was Mayor of London, I'd sort out the public transport system. It's an absolute disgrace.
Free milk. I thought that was good. I liked that when I was a kid. Can we have that again?
If I were Mayor of London, I would give to the poor.
I'd help lots of young people to find homes, decent homes to live in. I'd stop wasting money on absolute rubbish like the Millennium Dome.
If I was Mayor, I'd make every day a holiday.
If I was Mayor of London, I'd keep all the hostels for the homeless open all year round instead of just at Christmas.
I'd get a suit made with Harry Enfield on it.
If I was Mayor of London, I'd give Buckingham Palace to myself.
If I was Mayor of London, I'd make the transport better, help the homeless, help the old people, and try and clean London up a bit.
I'd get rid of traffic wardens. I'd let loads of cars into the capital, and I'd get rid of parking meters and clampers.
If I was London Mayor, I'd pedestrianise the whole of the West End. That's what it needs. It needs people to be able to walk freely and get around without having the hassle of pollution.
Oh, no private cars in the day. Yeah, I'm sick of it. You can't get anywhere, apart from me, obviously. I'd be allowed.
If I was Mayor of London for a day, I would ensure that there was a properly running London Underground system.
I'd tell everyone just to get naked. That'd improve everything.
It's all Smith London with lots of toys.
One person who very much wants to be Mayor of London, of course, the Liberal Democrat Susan Kramer, proud possessor of the most famous pair of Doc Martens in the country. Because with these, you promised to walk around 150 high streets in London. Have you done it yet?
We have done it. So we're going to have a sort of final rally razzmatazz on the 3rd. But I have to say I've done a good job of wearing these out.
Now, what are your feet like? What's the state of your feet?
That's the odd blister, mostly a couple of corns. They're going to enjoy being bathed, I think, in lavender water or something all of Friday.
Now, this is indicative of the whole campaign, because whilst those heavyweights in suits have been politicking away, you've actually seemed to enjoy it and have had a smile on your face. Has it surprised you, the whole campaign?
Well, I mean, I've loved it. It's been a chance to go out. When else would I come to a festival like this, be able to go around, talk to people, meet Londoners? Everywhere we've gone, I mean, we've met enthusiasm. There have been real issues. They actually come away with a real sense of responsibility. I mean, people have shared problems, and I feel now I can't give up. I have to keep working on those problems, as if, because they've shared them, I've got to do something about them.
But every time you see you on television, it's been Frank against Ken, and Frank and Steve against Ken, and Ken against Steve and all that. And you'd be the one who's been saying, come on, lads, settle down and everything like that. Off screen, do they like each other, or are they just as mad about each other, off screen?
I think we're all becoming sort of reasonably good pals. And in fact, pals, we have to have, I think, a dinner party at the end of this, because I've spent more time with sort of Norris, Dobson and Livingston than I have with my own family over the last several months. So there is a sort of sense of shared, as it were, suffering between us. We've all faced the same questions in the same media. But, I mean, I've enjoyed it. And you can't, why go into this if you're not going to go into it with a good spirit?
Final question, we've got about 30 seconds left. You've got about 3 days campaigning left. What would you say to Londoners now to make them vote for you?
Just that this is a great city and we can make it greater. And first we have to deal with the problems. I mean, things like using the bus when it isn't there, stress on the tube, lack of safety on our streets. We can deal with all of those things and then get on with celebrating London the way we're doing today in Coin Street.
Now, I asked Frank in a week's time if he's not mayor and it's all over. He says he'll go back to being an MP. He's proud to be an MP. What will you do in a week's time?
Haven't thought about what I would do. I'm totally focused on May 4th. I think I'm going to win. We can feel the support building. And if it doesn't work out, I'll think about it. But I'll tell you, there's going to be a surprise May 4th.
All right, Susan Kramer, thanks for bringing a smile to the campaign. Thanks very much indeed.
Very good.
Natasha.
I got people to meet. I'm moving to the rhythm of the London beat. Follow in my footsteps. Follow in my footsteps. Now the winds of change are blowing in the air. London needs a democratic mayor to show the people fair is fair. Follow me and I'll take you there. Follow in my footsteps. Follow.
Well, that was Sarah Gillis singing Susan Kramer's campaign song there. Now let's move on a bit, and the issue which has dominated the campaign is, of course, transport. Getting people into and out of and around London seems to be getting more and more difficult. Gridlocked roads, packed tubes, delayed trains, endless waits at bus stops. So we sent Elaine Park on her personal journey around the city.
London's transport system seems to lurch from one emergency to the next. Gridlocked traffic, overcrowded tube trains, broken escalators, cancelled trains and endlessly delayed buses.
Well, here I am outside Waterloo Station at the start of my personal journey around London's transport system. I'm just about to get on the Underground. The weather's turned out nice today. Let's hope my journey's just as pleasant.
Londoners pay some of the highest fares in Europe. Mile for mile, the tube can be more expensive than Concorde. In spite of that, it's estimated the network needs £7 billion worth of repairs and improvements. The new mayor will have a big job on his or her hands.
Well, I think they've got to do something about the overcrowding. I mean, I used the Underground this morning and it was really dangerous on the platforms.
One of the big criticisms of London's public transport is its lack of integration. But Willesden Junction Station shows how it is possible to get tubes, buses and trains working together. And it comes complete with a state-of-the-art security system.
Willesden Junction's a very good example of a simple improvement to make interchange better between the overground railway, which we're now on the North London line, the Underground and the buses. And what we need is lots of improvements like that round our suburban centres.
The tube and the railway often seem to grab most of the attention, but buses are still the most popular form of public transport. Well, perhaps popular's not quite the word.
Sometimes you wait 3/4 of an hour and they come 3 after each other and some dash around you and other one and you wait.
Somebody's got an ambulance.
London has the most comprehensive bus network in Europe, with about 700 routes. But the buses are always at the mercy of the traffic. And as this accident shows, there's always a danger of the traffic being brought to a standstill.
Well, if you've had enough of the trains, the tubes, the buses and the traffic congestion in London, there is another way to get around. You may need a little bit more time for your journey, but this is far more enjoyable. Well, I keep trying to wave down one of those boats, but they're not stopping for me. Now, transport may be the issue that concerns most Londoners most of the time, but it's not the only one, of course. To kick around a few more policy ideas, here's Miles Crawford with 3 more mayoral hopefuls. Here he is.
Well, here I am, in bed with the mayor, so to speak. This is the area which is home to this fabulous quilt. Now, the quilt is made up of messages to the mayor from schools, from community organisations, for people who want to send a special message. So if you want to send a message, come down here, write it down, and we'll add it to this wonderful quilt. I'm going to join Ram Goodamal here. How are you, Ram?
Very well.
Are you well? Now, you are a successful businessman.
I am indeed.
You've built up companies from scratch.
Yeah.
Why do you want to be mayor?
Well, the city needs a better choice than just being kicked left, right and centre by the main political parties. Tony Blair said he wants people with business and community experience. Here I am, I'm offering myself. Now, the Londoners still have a choice. The 4th of May, it's still a choice. I know people say Livingston is going to win, but remember, London needs not a politician, but a chief executive who can run the city. And I can tell you one thing, whatever the outcome of the election, I'm also on the Assembly list. First on the Assembly list, 5% of the votes gets me into the Assembly. Therefore, whatever the outcome, I hope to be playing a part in the governance of London and in making sure Londoners get the best, because that's what it's all about.
Brilliant. Being here by the quilt here, have you noticed any special messages to yourself from any supporters out there?
I tell you, some of the stuff there is really heart-searching. You know, a little kid writing in, how will you stop sex abuse as a child? Another one talking about looking after the poor. Now, the Christian People's Alliance is passionate about one thing, social justice. There are several other things, but let me mention social justice. This is about ensuring that, take transport policy. Will we ensure that transport is accessible for disabled people, unemployed people trying to break out of the poverty trap? That kind of thing affects
Fabulous.
many of the messages here.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
I'm also joined by Dr. Geoffrey Clements. Very good afternoon to you. Also, have you noticed anything on the quilts that would fuse you?
The main thing I'm finding in this campaign, which is really depicted here, is that people want real policies that work. And that's what the Natural Law Party stands for. Our programmes develop full creative potential, natural healthcare, prevention-oriented natural healthcare, programmes to beautify the environment. But the main thing is that the Natural Law Party is the only party offering reliable, scientifically tested programs, and that's my experience.
Oh, fabulous. Now, stress, that's one of the main things that that the Natural Law Party is about, reducing stress, and I mean reducing stress as well. I mean, have you seen any buildings around here that would reduce stress?
Not many, and that's what we want to do. We want to reconstruct London, beautify London, using architecture in tune with natural law. That reduces stress. At the same time, our programs like transcendental meditation, groups of experts in transcendental meditation and yogic flying can reduce stress for the individual and society. That's the only way we can bring down crime and solve social problems.
Sorry to cut you there. I'm going to be here. We're going to be looking on the quilt for a lot more stuff. I'll see you around. Cheers.
Thanks, Miles, and don't forget, it's your vote that will decide which direction this great city takes. We'll be back at 4:15 with more candidates, more celebrities, more music and much, much, much more fun. Meanwhile, the Jambalaya Marching Band leads us out of our first visit to the Coin Street Festival. We'll see you again at 4:15 when Super Sunday continues. Do try to join us then. Bye-bye for now.
Register now.
I will start singing in church again.
I will donate blood.
And make your promise for the new millennium.
Yesterday, I filled my car with petrol and I made my promise.
I just been down the high street and I made my promise.
I did my weekly shop and made my promise.
When I went to the bank, I made my promise.
I was surfing the web and I made my promise online.
For more information, call 0901 201 2000.
A city dealer commits suicide after losing $100 million. And Paul McGann stars as the man to get the money back. Movie drama next on LWT in Dealers.
Having trouble shopping for financial products? iii.co.uk is your website for everything from mortgages, insurance, pensions to share dealing. Interactive Investor International. Financial power is changing hands.
They say if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Problem these days, hey, it's all kitchen. Hilton believes it's time to put on the brakes. Welcome to Hilton time. Yeah, I like what you've done here.
Introducing new super all-purpose sealant from Unibond. With fingertip control, it's now so quick and so easy to use. You may never need a sealant gun ever again. New super all-purpose sealant from Unibond.
No more nails means no more nails. No more nails on architraves or dado rails. No more nails on skirting boards. No more nails sticks virtually anything to anything.
Ben, I think it's time we finished our relations.
Every couple of months.
Well, every few weeks, if you like.
How about next week?
How about this week?
I'm free tomorrow, actually.
Are you free tonight?
See you in 20 minutes?
I'll be there in 10.
I think that's our shortest breakup yet.
To see the bigger picture, here's a little clue. Maybe we should have called ourselves Bigger King.
It's the last few days to make a massive saving at DFS. On special bank holiday offers, there's 50% off. Make a massive saving on this leather sofa. A stunning 50% off this stylish three-seater. Or this sofa for a tiny price of $399. Take 4 years free credit and pay nothing for the first year. Massive savings, stunning sofas, tiny prices. It's the last few days to save at DFS.
UK Plus is a UK-edited search directory that allows you to enjoy all the fun of the internet without too many unpleasant surprises along the way. All you'll get is intelligently edited information without being bombarded by all the other stuff that normally comes with it. Just type www.ukplus.co.uk. Sit back, relax, enjoy.
Speeding, was I?
No, sir. It's a little bit more serious than that, I'm afraid. It's my gas supply. What? I just wanted to ask your advice.
OK, so worrying about your gas or electricity supplier isn't the most important thing in life. But we know you have a choice. So, at npower, we're always working to lower your bills.
Introducing new super all-purpose sealant from Unibond. With fingertip control, it's now so quick and so easy to use, you may never need a sealant gun ever again. New super all-purpose sealant from Unibond.
You'd like a magnet kitchen for less than half price? No problem. The Magnet Half Price sale is now on with an extra 10% off sale prices until 5 p.m. Bank Holiday Monday.
Can't use the fax that Jill's in love.
With BT, you can get a dedicated line to surf the net for our best price ever. Call BT on 0800 800 845 now.
Want to turn your house into your dream home?
I've been dying to do that.
Want to do it all by yourself? You need a little skill, a brush of inspiration, and a show that's guaranteed to hit the nail on the head.
Easy.
Step by step, Denise Welsh and her team help you avoid those DIY disasters.
If I can do it,
making your fantasy,
you can do it.
A reality. The Real DIY Show, today at 5 on ITV. Meet the two new faces arriving in Skelthwaite in a fresh new series of Where the Heart Is, starting tonight at 8. You're watching LWT on a Super Sunday.
To the razzmatazz of Super Sunday here at the Coin Street Festival in the heart of the capital. By this time on Friday, we'll know who's going to be London's first ever elected mayor. And today we've been taking the opportunity to celebrate this very special event in the life of our city. There are thousands of people down here this afternoon enjoying the festival, and amongst them are our reporters. Keith Chegwin will be collaring a few celebrities over there by the soundstage. Miles Crawford's tracking down the four main candidates. Apparently they've been doing some hanging around for some time. Boom, boom, there's a joke there somewhere. And somewhere down among the stalls is Ken Andrew. Ken, where are you, Chuck?
Among the stalls, about 70 of them. Natasha, this is politics in the flesh, because these stalls are not selling anything. What they're doing is they're trying to get canvass opinion for people to vote for certain candidates, and there are lots of different issues here. Let's try and grab some people walking past purely at random. Hello, madam, you're on live television. Have you been following the election?
Not really. No.
But I'm not going to ask you who you're going to vote for, but what's the one issue which concerns you most in the London mayoral election?
Transport and bringing the cars into London.
Who do you think is going to do the best job?
Ken Livingstone.
All right, sir, you as well. What's the most important issue for you?
Transport.
Transport. But you don't think whoever gets in, they're going to make any difference at all, do you?
No, not at all.
OK, let's try and find somebody else down here. Follow me.
Hello, don't run away. You're going to be on telly. Hello. What's the single most important issue in this whole election?
Well, I'd say transport is probably the most important, but also unemployment.
Now, have you been impressed by the candidates and how they've, run this election?
Some of them obviously better than others. I think there's been a lot of name calling, and obviously I'll be voting for Ken Livingstone. I'm disgusted at the Labour Party's role in stopping him standing as their candidate.
All right, thanks very much indeed. Well, Dr. Johnson once famously said, if you're tired of London, you're tired of life. But then he never had to travel on the Northern Line. One person who isn't tired of London is Josie Darby. And we sent her out to feel the pulse of the city that the new mayor will inherit.
Well, that's me finished for the day at the bigger breakfast, but I've still got enough energy to zip you around my favourite city. Yeah, sure, it has got its problems, but it's still the best city in the world. It's London. So why is it the hippest city in the world? Well, for starters, it is the fashion capital. Also, London boasts some of the best bars and clubs on the planet. All of that, and it is restaurant-tastic. Do you know that in this area alone, there are over 6,000 restaurants? That's made me hungry. But no food for the wicked, because there's a lot more to see yet. Of course, one of the sights that draws the crowd is Buckingham Palace, which is what I've come here to see today. And as you can see, plenty of other people have come hoping to catch a glimpse of Her Royal Majesty. Did you know Buckingham Palace is actually back to front? That looks like the front of the building, but it's actually the back entrance. One thing I've got in common with the tourists is I will never tire of trying to make these guys move. Hi. God, you look young, don't you? You're about 18. You will find it hard to beat the shopping in London anywhere in the world. Big designer names and high street stores. London has got everything. I could certainly spend all day, every day on this street, Bond Street, but I think I've maxed my plastic. When you've exhausted yourself with the sights and sounds of London, then you're going to need to put your feet up. So put them up in style here at Fortnum and Mason's. You'll be certainly in good company. Charles Dickens, he's had tea here, as had Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. It's first-class service and they spoil you rotten. Yes, London is definitely worth celebrating. So let's pop a cork. London's great. Let's make sure it stays that way. Thank you. Cheers.
The hustle and bustle of beautiful London and the hustle and bustle of the beautiful Coit Street Festival. It's very noisy where I am at the moment, but one lady's accustomed to loud sounds. Yeah, singer extraordinaire, I can't tell you, and actress too, from Casualty, Rebecca Wheatley. A very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, it's great, isn't it?
It's loud
You're
though,
not
isn't it?
dancing, Keith, you're not dancing, come on.
Hey, I've got to say, you're into loud music. I saw you last night. You
What, on the Beatles thing?
Well, this lady did a tribute to the Beatles last night on TV, and your voice is superb. Does that actually mean that you're going to give up the acting career and go to singing?
No, I'm still doing Casualty, we're still recording Casualty, the album's out, it's all going on at the same time, so it's really, really great.
So have you got a musical background then?
Yeah, I've been singing for years and years in all kinds of different clubs. I've done every single kind of club in this London area. You know, this is my manor, you know.
This is our manor
This
for
is my
today.
manor.
Rebecca, I've got to rush you. Thanks very much. OK, over to Miles.
Now, if you were watching earlier on Super Sunday, you would have seen the beginning of this fabulous mural behind me, and Frank, the artistic director, is still with us. How's it going, Frank?
It's going really well. You can see the team behind us. They're just putting the finishing touches to, I think it's a bit of a masterpiece, really.
Absolutely. All sorts of things going on here this afternoon, and I mean all sorts of things. And one fabulous thing that's going on is the wonderful face painting for kids. And the star of the face painting is Astrid. Hello, Astrid.
Hello.
How's it going this afternoon? Have you had a great response?
Oh, yes. Loads of children, loads of work.
Here are two children that have their faces done. And your name is?
Emily.
And your name is?
Nadine.
Now, what are your favourite animals? Yours first.
Tiger.
And yours?
Butterflies.
How would I have guessed that? It's all buzzing here at the bottom of the Oxford Tower. I'm going to be speaking to loads of people later, but until then, see you then.
Thanks very much, Miles. Now, whatever you think about the race to be London's best-known mayor since Dick Whittington, you have to admit it hasn't been dull. Remember Geoffrey Archer? Well, he was the Conservative candidate until he admitted a little loss of memory about a libel case. Then there was Downing Street's desperate attempts to stop Ken Livingstone at any price. Well, as we know now, that was so successful it left the former Red Ken 30 points ahead in the latest opinion polls. Well, with me to take a light-hearted view of this unique contest is the former Tory MP, now restaurateur and newspaper columnist for the Sunday Times, Philip Oppenheim. Philip, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
You're looking very summerly dressed, I have to say. You're a brave man.
Ever optimistic, ever optimistic.
Now, it's been a rollercoaster campaign. What have been the highs and lows for you?
Well, I think the low was when poor old Dobbo, after all his troubles, turned up at Hornchurch tube station, I think 3 or 4 mornings ago, expecting to distribute leaflets, but there were problems on the line, wrong sort of leaves or something like that. He arrived late, and when he arrived, one of those London Underground jobsworths that are never there when you actually want them to be there, turned up and said, afraid you can't distribute leaflets on our property, it's a health risk or it's a fire risk. So poor old Dobbo was turned away.
Oh dear, and embarrassing moments quickly?
I think probably the Prime Minister, who's had a bit of a rough time on the tube. If you remember before Christmas, he tried to chat up a lady on her way to work and she pointedly ignored him and dug into her Walkman. Well, he decided finally to support Dobbo about 3 weeks ago, turned up on the tube with him, and they just stood about 10 metres apart as though there was a nasty smell and didn't talk to each other. And I think probably that was the most embarrassing moment.
Philip, we have to leave it there. Time's beaten us already. Sure. Well, still, it's not just about the Mayor's job at stake here, is it? I mean, we are also electing a London Assembly, and under a new system of proportional representation, that will probably mean seats for members of the Green Party. Ken Andrew is with their candidate for Mayor, Darren Johnson. Ken.
Yes, Natasha, you can tell, the producers of this programme, they don't just throw it together. They said, let's have the Green candidate and let's stand him on the grass. Well done, lads. Darren,
here I am on the grass.
Do you actually hope to win any seats in this Assembly?
Oh, certainly. In the Assembly elections, we're already on 7% in the opinion polls. I expect that to rise over the next few days. I think we'll get at least 2 seats, and we are going to provide London with that strong Green voice it so desperately needs.
Why are you suddenly doing so well, which you normally haven't in the elections in this country?
Well, what is happening, we've got a proportional system, and so as long as people realise that a Green vote will actually get people elected, then our vote shoots up. And also, you've got to look at the issues that this election is being fought on: traffic, environment, local economies, racism, things that we've been campaigning on for decades and Greens have been taking the lead on. So many people are really looking to the Green Party to deliver now.
Have the other parties been cozying up to you?
Well, certainly we were very, very pleased that Ken Livingstone came out and endorsed our Assembly list and called upon people to vote Green in the Assembly election.
And offered you the deputy mayorship if he gets in?
He's not offered me the deputy mayorship. That's just a lot of media speculation about.
But would you like it?
I may well be available for the job provided the conditions are right, absolutely. But he has said he wants to see me in his cabinet taking charge of London's environment, and I will certainly be very interested in looking into that, yeah.
All right, Darren, thanks very much indeed. Now, over to Miles, wherever you are.
Well, I am at the big screen area, and I have found an interesting piece. Are we having fun down here this afternoon? Well, nearly all of us are. Now, where is he? Des Kay. Hello, Des Kay. This is an interesting stack of equipment here. You're an environmentalist, are you?
Yes. This is actually a very special machine. It's made entirely from rubbish. Absolutely everything you see on it was made from rubbish, and it is the amazing cycle-powered answer to everything machine. That's what it is. It actually gives you the answer to everything.
Oh, super. I mean, do you need any sort of protective gear to help you sort of work the thing?
Well, yes. The problem with it is that I have to actually make sure that almost everything is in it, which means that we actually have to put the worst thing in the world into the machine. So, shall I do that? Would you like to see a demonstration?
Show us.
Okay, well, hang on a second. I have to wear a special protective helmet.
Okay, well, we'll have a look at this protective gear. Lots of interesting gadgets on here too. Yes.
Yeah, this was from South Bank University. They have a protective clothing department.
Okay, well, slip that on. Let's let's have a look. So what does that do?
This is my protective helmet. This should protect me from anything.
Show us how it works.
Including the worst thing in the world, right?
Okay, fire away. There we go. That's a great start. So, what's this? Very quickly, what's this? What's that do?
Oh, no. Stay well away. This is the worst thing in the world. Would you like to see it?
I would like to see it, yes.
Okay, I'll just remove it.
This is Des Kay's world. Out is coming.
Miles, I must ask you to stand back a bit, because it is the worst thing in the world. Thank you.
Whilst we see this, ladies and gents, I'm going to be nipping around and see. Let's have a look at this. Oh my goodness! And may I ask what that is?
It's Frank Dobson's underpants.
Well, ladies and gents, that is Des Kay's world. Natasha, take it away.
No comment, thank you very much. Now, I understand politics is supposed to be a serious business, but you do have to laugh at the way the parties came up with their candidates. Let's remember now some of the funniest selection processes in election history.
For a saint, I won't be your first choice.
It's the Coin Street Festival, and I'll tell you what, the noise is deafening down here. We're soaking up the sights and sounds of the show, and also the wonderful aroma from some of the special foods that you can get down here. Tell me your name, and what have you brought along to show us?
My name's Paul. I'm from Yam Nakasara, outside catering. I brought along my dinner, basically.
So what's in your dinner? It's Creole food, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yes.
But just explain to the novice like me, what is Creole food?
Like, Creole food is a mixture of European and African in a third setting. So
is it more spicy? Is it herbal? Is it is it going to burn my mouth off?
No, we don't cook food quite like that.
Can I just try a little bit? What's this here?
That's planting.
And what is it?
Planting is like a big banana, but slightly more sophisticated.
Oh, superb! A wonderful array down here too, and I'll tell you what, I think even Ken would like to get his hands on this.
Joining me now is Steve Norris, the Conservative candidate in the election. Steve, simple question. Did William Hague say to you, try and win the election if you can't make sure Ken wins?
Great idea. I always think the conspiracy theories are the best, don't you? But actually, no, it's very, very straightforward. We've gone out to win. We've had a terrific campaign so far. We're clearly the only alternative candidate to Ken. It's between Ken and myself. And that actually in itself is a huge achievement. But actually, more to the point, we think we're going to be there on the day. I mean, the huge support in that whole swathe of outer London, you know, the sort of where 2/3 of the votes actually are, even if people don't necessarily assume that. That is where we're going to pick up.
But all the opinion polls say you haven't got a chance.
No. One poll. You see, that's the irony. We keep talking, using this expression, all the opinion polls. As far as I know, there's been one. ICM for the Evening Standard, no others. And actually, if you look at that poll in detail, we can frankly discount it. The reality is that outer London is where the vote is and where there's a delivery mechanism to get it out. Ken may be a good brand in the kind of Zone 1 area, you know, the cappuccino set. But once you take him out of that, he has got no mechanism whatever to get a vote out. That's why he himself says that there's a serious risk that I'm actually going to win.
OK, let's talk issues for a moment. Ian Cool is the chairman of the South Bank Employers Federation. You've got a question for Steve, haven't you?
Yes, Steve. The outer London is where the votes are, but central London is the drive for a lot of the economic vitality of this city. What are you going to do about making it easier to get people into the city?
Yeah, I mean, I think for what it's worth, you have to be a mayor for the whole of London. I mean, if you're not actually regenerating this heart, then my goodness me, the whole vitality of the city suffers. I think as far as access here is concerned, obviously the big improvement we've had just here on the South Bank is the arrival of the Jubilee line, particularly from the east, bringing business in from that direction, as well as coming round from Green Park. I've always personally believed we had to make buses work. But above all, in an area like this, what we have to do is to put people back first. So that, for example, people are the first priority before moving traffic on the road scheme. And I know you've got some very interesting ideas for how to do that around here. That's where I think a mayor's got to be able to help. I mean, actually, it is in areas like this that London earns the reputation that keeps it the greatest city in the world.
Now, transport has been the key issue of this election, apart from the personalities. It strikes me that no one has come up with really the coherent solution to the underground, and that even if Ken Livingstone gets in, or even if he himself gets in, nothing's going to happen to the underground for some considerable time. Is that right?
It's not quite right. I mean, one thing is true. There's been an awful lot of hot air wasted about bonds, which are a completely nonsensical proposition, and I don't think anybody thinks Gordon Brown's going to wake up on Friday morning and write London a huge cheque, even though morally he frankly ought to, because we as a London economy deserve it. No, the reality is, though, you can do a huge amount with management. You can do a huge amount managing the system more in the interest of passengers than it has been in the past, and I think every candidate's been united about that, and every candidate relishes getting their hands on the system itself, making a lot of changes, I have to say. Ken refers to the dullards. Well, I'm not going to be that ungenerous, but there will be changes, and they have to manage the system better than they do.
Final quick question. When you wake up in a week's time, and you might be the mayor, you might not be the mayor. If you're not the mayor, what will you do?
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be, but if I were put in that position, I know I'd be an awful lot richer.
Well, people have been watching that interview in the shadow of the Oxo Tower here. Big and small. That's what we like. Also in this area are lots of different stalls. People coming down here enjoying the afternoon. Can I just ask, what's your stall about this afternoon?
Well, I'm here to promote the Our London competition. Our London is a big arts initiative where young people are being able to express to the mayor what they think is important about London, and part of it is a poster competition. Yay! And Mark Spate's helping us.
How you doing, Mark? Very good afternoon. Are you enjoying yourself?
Oh, fantastic. It's encouraging the kids to get busy with the paints, and they're doing a very good job at the moment, actually.
Well, you seem to be surrounded by kids all afternoon.
Yeah, it's manic, but it's fun.
Most of all, are you getting what you wanted from this afternoon?
I think so. I mean, if the weather had been a bit more kind, it would have been better. But we've had, lots of interest. Lots of people are designing their entries, and they have to get them in by May the 4th, please. May the 4th, Election Day.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, we're going to see if we can get some more people down for you, and we'll hope that we'll have a fantastic afternoon. Fantastic.
Thanks, Miles.
Thanks, Miles. Well, coming up after the break, if we haven't blown away by then, more celebrities, more fun from the festival, and from John McCruick, a complete rundown on all the runners and the riders in the London Mayoral Stakes.
Lloyds TSB's new internet banking service leaves you more time to do the things you really want to do. If you want to bank this way, register at www.lloydstsb.com.
I says to Fred, with the price of these panels, you can't afford to sit on the fence.
Wick's 6-foot fence panels from $6.99.
Go on, son. It eats!
Listerine kills the bacteria between your teeth,
They're rock hard then.
giving healthier teeth and gums.
Thinking of going digital? At Comet we've got just what you need.
Like this Panasonic digital camcorder for much sharper home videos.
Or this award-winning DVD player with amazing picture quality. In fact, we're lowering prices on a great range of digital products. Lowering digital prices forever. That's Comet Sense.
You've only got until May the 1st to enter the draw and become an internet millionaire with BT. And there's no such thing as a rollover in this promotion. Someone is guaranteed £1 million. All you have to do is visit btinternet.com, answer a few questions, and you could be the one counting the money.
Most accidents happen in the home. But would you know what to do when confronted by disasters like these? Violent clashing colours. A totally inadequate corner video unit. This couple did. They went to courts for fantastic savings and an extra 25% off all hotspot furniture, beds, carpets and electricals. So hurry to the court's bank holiday event. It'll be a crime to miss out.
New shoes.
Is this the most advanced cycle ever? No, this is. The new Bosch Logix Automatic. The most high-performance dishwasher we've ever made. Bosch.
If you want to bank this way, register at www.lloydstsb.com.
Welcome back to Super Sunday. Now, if you've stayed at home on this fabulous afternoon, you really are missing out. There's a massive crowd, it's lots of fun, and the Coin Street Festival doesn't end until 6 o'clock this evening, so get your boots on and come on down. Now, Keith's found a familiar face in the crowd. Keith, where are you?
Thank you very much. Yeah, familiar faces and more around here, I can tell you. Look, two of the greatest stars in the whole wide world. Where? Mark Curry and the one and only Valerie Singleton.
Hello.
How are you doing? It's a little bit noisy, so you'll have to forgive us.
Very good music, though. We've all been dancing away here.
So you've had a good look around the event, haven't you?
Can you speak up a bit? It's very noisy.
You've had a good look around the event. What have you seen, Mark?
The most wonderful food.
Yes.
The brilliant food. So, what did we have? Creole fish. Was it Creole fish?
And I had the satay, and very, very good. Excellent.
Can I ask you both on a more serious note? I mean, does the mayoral sort of election, does it mean that much to you two?
Yes, I think it's important. I mean, it's had its sort of funny moments, hasn't it, in the last few months? I'm quite glad it's coming to an end.
Right.
Perhaps we can get down to the serious business of having a mayor who does the job.
So if we get a mayor in, what sort of good points are you looking for? Tough one, Mark.
What really would work for me is when I hear about them talking about making London more of a street cafe place, like Paris, like Rome, like the other European cities. If they can do that, so there's not so much transport in there, not so many cars, you can sit down, have a cup of coffee, we can all meet every Tuesday morning.
And also, get some cohesion. It's like every council runs its own, system. If we could get a kind of whole feeling about the city, it would be fantastic.
So that's more about what you see. We're very short for time, so look, this is plug. Val, tell us what you're up to and what you're doing. I believe a book on the way.
Yeah, I'm working on a book. I'm being persuaded to. Lots of travel articles. I'm doing a lot of travel writing now, so I'm travelling and writing. I'm supposed to be doing that at the moment today.
Oh, brilliant. What about you, Mark?
I'm doing a brand new Saturday night ITV show, 7 o'clock.
Excellent.
Starting in 2 weeks' time.
Yo, good luck. And can I just say, it's so embarrassing. Look at this. Coming here with a stain on your shirt.
Horrible.
Keep out of the pub, Val. Okay, here's Miles.
Ladies and gents.
Cheers. Well, ladies and gents, if you're walking along the South Bank, you can't help but notice our very own rapping big issue seller, Ken Roberts. Take it away, Ken.
Who's it gonna be? It's not gonna be you, it's not gonna be me. For the candidate standing for the position of mayor, which is so outstanding and demanding, you gotta know, we the people ask you to do the right thing and come on through with the goods, results and changes that we need to do today. The deal we have to cover is the one for each other. Need to cover the homeless jobs and situations. He or she, whoever they may be, the mayor's job is there for thee. That'll do it.
Absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, Miles. Now, we all hope that the new mayor will be our voice and do great things for our city. But of course, most good things come with a price tag. Arti Halai has been totting up the bill for the mayor and the new assembly.
Creating a mayor is an expensive business. The election itself is going to cost a lot of money. What with advertising, polling stations, and part of the cost of the candidate's statements, it all adds up to about £22 million. And that's just the beginning. Now, once the election is over, the new London mayor and the Assembly will move into this block here in Victoria. The Greater London Assembly is going to generate an awful lot of paperwork. So, 250 new recruits are going to be drafted in here at the mayoral headquarters. To get the mayor and the Assembly up and running, it's going to cost roughly £35 million. And this is just a temporary base. So that makes a current total of £57 million. 2 years down the line and the whole mayoral entourage will be moving house. They're going to be based here on the South Bank, opposite Tower Bridge. The plans for the new building are very ambitious. A team of fashionable architects have designed what's become known as the Bicycle Lamp Building. The Assembly will sit in a specially designed chamber and members of the public will be able to watch the proceedings. It will be on a 20-year lease, which is set at nearly £4.75 million a year. The total will work out at £95 million. So that gives us a grand total of... There aren't even enough noughts on my calculator, but I can tell you it's a cool £152 million.
But all I can afford is about £2. I'll put that towards the cost. We have the big stars down here. Look at this, Russell Floyd, ex-EastEnders.
Okay.
A very good afternoon to you.
Hello, mate.
You're here with your little ones over here.
Yeah, I'm down with a little boy, my wife, yeah.
How old is he?
He's 16 months.
So is it late nights and early mornings?
Well, yeah, I don't know if he's my child. He's more intelligent than me.
What would the East End lot think of this, all the mayoral elections and all that sort of thing? Would they get involved or what?
I don't know, they'd be fighting on the set, really.
Yeah, really?
Because Barbara's a Conservative, I'm a Labour, so yeah, no.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, I should have said that.
Oh.
No,
So what do you think about the whole thing?
Well, I think it's great that you have a democratic voice for London, and it's about time, and all power to Labour for bringing it in.
Great.
And impressive list of candidates.
But there's a lot of other parties down here today. Have you had a chance to look around there as well?
I'm just starting to look around. I think this is fantastic. I'm having a really good time.
So, look, the big question is, I've got to ask you, how is life after EastEnders?
About 5'8". No, I don't know really. Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I spent most of my time with a little boy and doing bits and bobs, so yeah, I'm really happy.
All the stars from EastEnders and Casualty who I interviewed a little while ago, they're all going into the record business. Have you got plans for that?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. No. Fanto's about my limit, really.
All right. Hey, look, would you recommend people come down here for the day? It's going on to about
Come
midnight.
down for the day. It's fantastic. You got Keith running around here, but I mean, it's all these stalls, great food stalls, loads to see, lots of fun, great music. It's a great day out.
All right, Russell Floyd, star of the show. Back soon.
Lots of interesting things. We are making loads of friends here this afternoon. On my walkabouts this afternoon, I found a group of guys called the Coneheads. Nice to meet you all. Nice to meet you all. And I believe you are on a fact-finding tour. Is that right? Okay, well, let's go along. Let's find some facts. I don't know how you do it, but I'm sure you're going to take some pictures of this. Is that your first fact? Now, I want to get some reaction for the kids. Hello. What's your name?
Joe.
Hello, Joe. What do you think of our Coneheads this afternoon?
Well, they're rather funny, and I think they're very, very good.
Okay, now, can you find any interesting facts on our new friend this afternoon? He seems to be doing very, very well. We got two wonderful, nice little girls here. How are you? Hello. Hello. Now, what do you think of the Coneheads?
Good.
They're good, are they? Do you want to make friends with them? Well, maybe we can introduce you to them later. I'm going to see what the Coneheads are doing this afternoon and get back to you with some more fun that's happening from this area. Back to Tash.
Thank you very much, Miles. You're somewhere over there, can't quite see you. Now we're going to join Ken Andrew, who earlier caught up with Tony Blair's least favourite mayoral candidate. Who is it? It's Ken Livingstone.
Well, we've managed to grab a few minutes undercover with the unmistakable figure of Ken Livingstone. Hi, Ken.
Hi. Great. Knackered but happy.
Coming towards the end of this sort of election campaign, how has it gone compared to some of the others you've fought?
Well, it's been nothing like this. Normally, you have an election campaign, it lasts 4 or 5 weeks. This really started when Frank announced he was running for mayor. So we've had 7 months campaigning, and the Labour nomination ran into the full election. And I think people are absolutely sick of it. And last thing, Londoners don't want any more mayor election stuff. They want someone to get elected and get on with the job.
Just watching the sort of television coverage of you all when you're all together, there's body language, everything like that, it looks like you can't stand each other's guts.
No,
but are you like boxers who sort of talk up a good fight and then behind the scenes you're actually all friends?
We're very friendly. I mean, we agree about 95% of the issues. And so we get around. And we, like this morning when we were on the programme, we were sort of chatting about how there was no truth in any of the rubbish all over the front page of the papers today. And we all swapped stories about how this isn't that isn't true, you know.
But you said at the beginning there would be a dirty tricks campaign, there would be smears. Are you surprised at how many there have been or how few there have been?
Oh no, I think it's been a very dirty campaign, loads of smears, but what's been very good, I think Londoners have just ignored them. I think people have great big cattle detectors go up at this stage again. They don't believe any of it, and it's quite true. And the stories I've read in the paper, I wouldn't vote for myself if I believed all that, what I read about myself. You even had the front page headline on the Times saying I was criminally not overspent, but I'd had a criminal activity as a director of a company. And the next day, buried away on page 3, this appears not to be true, you know.
If you don't get in, what will you do with the rest of your life?
Well, I mean, because clearly if I don't win this, I wouldn't get re-elected as a Labour candidate to Parliament. I'm out of the party. I'd just be another 55-year-old unemployed man looking for a job.
This time next week, you could be sitting in bed having a cup of tea, you know, relaxing and thinking, right, tomorrow morning I've got to go to work. What's the first thing you'll do?
I've got news for you.
Go on then.
The schedule for the mayor is that they're in for meetings at 9 o'clock on Friday, at 9 o'clock on Saturday, all day Friday, all day Saturday, and Sunday morning through at least till the early afternoon.
So you won't be having a line, but okay,
no, you will not. I'll be in there working away if I'm elected, as will the others.
But you're going in on Friday morning. What's the very first thing you do when you go into that office?
I think what you've got to do is, about 80 staff have already been appointed, is to meet them, tell them how you want to run it. I say to them, one big bit of advice I'm going to give them is that, you know, if you make a mistake, come and tell me, don't cover it up. People expect you to make mistakes. The problem comes with the cover-up.
OK, final thing here. I've got a present for you. Now, do you recognise that?
Oh, it's a wonder. Now, that's a wonderful old GLC teacup. Wedgwood.
That's just not any old GLC teacup. On your last day in office as leader of the GLC, I interviewed you and we had a cup of tea. And when you'd left the room, I swiped your cup. That is your own cup, and I'm giving it back to you now. So if you do get in on Friday morning, have a cup of tea out of that.
Oh, that's wonderful. What else did you steal?
I can't possibly say. Ken Livingstone, thank you very much indeed. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you to the two Kens. Now, if Ken Andrew ever asks to interview you, don't do it. His dressing room is absolutely packed with stuff. There's a little secret there. Now, as you know, if you've already been to the polling station, voting in this historic mayoral election involves more than just putting a cross in the box. You actually are greeted by 2 forms, one for the mayor, one for the Greater London Assembly, and on each you have 2 votes. Are you confused? Well, you won't be after Elaine Parks' guide to the poll with some help from some London school children.
Pupils here at Plumstead Manor School in South East London are learning about choosing a new mayor for London. But it's not all textbooks and flip charts. They've organised their own election.
If I was elected to be mayor, I would help against racism, help teenagers of our generation, and I will listen to your opinions and put your thoughts forward.
Meanwhile, adult Londoners have been voting for the past 3 days in the most complicated election ever held in the city. And for those who haven't voted yet, there's a final chance on Thursday. On the ballot paper, voters can choose a first and second preference candidate. If any of the candidates get more than 50% of the vote, they're elected. If not, everyone's eliminated except the top 2. And the second preference of the excluded candidates is shared out between them. After that's done, the one with the most votes is the new mayor. At the same time, we're also voting for a new Greater London Assembly, which will be made up of 25 members. 14 will be elected by the traditional first-past-the-post system for single constituencies, each made up of 2 or 3 boroughs. The remaining 11 Assembly members will be chosen from London-wide party lists. Electors will have 2 votes, one for their preferred candidate in their constituency, the other for a party.
I hope you make the right decision. Thank you.
And it's not just the voting system that has changed. Ballot boxes look a bit different. Voters mustn't fold their ballot papers because the new electronic counting machine can only handle them if they're loaded flat.
Here's the ballot box.
Normally, it would take up to 3 days to count all the ballot papers by hand. But now, thanks to the new machine, we should know the result on Friday morning. Here at Plumstead, the voters have delivered their verdict.
Joe Bennett, 115 votes. Shima Hamden, 117 votes. Leanne Candler-Dick and Alana Fitch, 130 votes. Oh my God!
The results are dead heat. One thing we can be certain won't happen on Thursday.
Well, I hope that helps if you've still got to cast your vote. Bookies, of course, don't wait for the polls to close. They reckon they have a shrewd idea of who's up and who's down. Now, legendary tipster John McCruick will now show us where the clever money is going.
Well, traditionally, bookmakers don't like betting on anything that talks. And my goodness, the London mayoral elections prove the reason for that. Think of the very best prices you could have got throughout the 7 months campaign at various times. Ken Livingstone's been a 6-to-1 chance. Frank Dobson is now 10-to-1. 20-to-1 Steve Norris and 100-to-1 against Susan Kramer. And you mustn't forget the independent candidates. We've got to read them all out. Very surprised there's no women among the independent candidates. They're all men. But Ashwin Tanner, 1,000-to-1. Ram Gudamal, also 1,000-to-1. Darren Johnson, 1,000-to-1. These are all the runners and riders. Jeffrey Clements is 1,000-to-1. Michael Newland, 1,000-to-1. You could have got against him. Damien Hockney at 1,000-to-1. And Geoffrey Ben Nathan also at 1,000-to-1. And so imagine their mothers and their families were maybe getting on with the bookmakers, hoping for a miracle, backing them at 1,000-to-1. But now there is virtually no betting on the contest. Bookmakers have ceased betting. You can get 9-to-1 against any candidate except for Ken Livingstone winning. But imagine if you had backed Ken in his darkest day, 6-to-1. You could have got Ken Livingstone, and imagine having that voucher in your pocket. Ken Livingstone 6-to-1. You think you're a certainty, but not a vote has been counted yet. You still don't know. So the drama is building up. Whatever the opinion polls say, they are not real votes. But if you've got that 6-to-1, you really would love having it. And I would say one thing to all the candidates, one policy that I would like to see, that whatever the property developers want, not a single healthy tree in London should ever be cut down again. If that policy was adopted, lots of people would support it. But meanwhile, you're watching television. This should be smelly vision. The food is fantastic. Asian food, Caribbean food, all sorts of stuff from the South America, everything. I'm going to have some of the food. Lucky me, smelly vision here. You watch the television, and if you've got 6-to-1 Ken Livingstone, I think you're getting ready to draw from your poor unfortunate bookie chap.
Last straw poll. Who's going to be the mayor? Who's going to be the next mayor?
Well, whoever it is, the sports people will be working with him.
Oh, who's going to be the next mayor?
Well, it could be any one of us.
All right, who's going to be the next mayor?
I said to give place to Bible prophecy to prepare for the end of the world.
And I asked you who's going to be the next mayor?
I would say Ken Livingstone.
Ken Livingstone. Who do you think is going to be the next mayor?
Ken Livingstone.
Does anybody think Ken Livingstone won't be the next mayor?
He definitely will.
He definitely will?
Definitely will.
Okay, I'll ask you again. What is it about Ken that makes you want to vote for him, considering, you know, he had a lot of bad publicity when he was mayor of London?
He's one of us.
What do you mean by that?
Well, he's Londoner. He's always been in London. I'm really born in it.
So is Frank Dobson, who's always been a Londoner?
Yeah, but he sees more of us than what Frank Dobson do.
All right then, for the final word on this, we're going to go to Judy, who is the mascot of the Bankside's Residents Forum. Judy, who do you think is going to be the next mayor of London? She bet it in rehearsals, I don't believe it. Anyway, Miles, how's your Muriel coming on?
Thanks very much. Can you believe it? I've managed to get away from the noise of the band to the peace and tranquility and wonderful atmosphere of Miles's little area and the El Mural. Miles.
Oh, right, yeah, this
it's
is...
so nice and peaceful here, isn't it, really?
It's all going fantastic. Leroy has been sort of teaching me to paint and stuff.
So you've been the man that's been responsible for the whole thing, or just a bit of it?
Just a D.
So which bit did you do? Stand back and show me. Which bits have you been doing?
Basically, I just done all of it apart from the girl.
That is superb. Miles, give us a recap about the whole thing.
Well,
What's it all been about?
The biggest thing, Frank is the artistic director.
Hi, Frank.
Are you happy with the response that you've got with you, More?
I think it's fantastic. It's really turned into a beautiful, rich picture, and everyone's developed their own part of it with their own style and their own interests, which I think is really important.
Would you like Miles and I to add to it just a little bit?
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll give you a brush.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I've always wanted to do a Rolf Harris on live TV. Hey, look at this.
We're really having fun here. I'm going to go back to my patch, and we'll see you all later.
Thanks very much, Miles. Now, back with John, you've been eating all your food.
Fantastic. Smelly fish and nothing like it. What are you doing at home? Come down here. Magnificent choice.
So just lastly, who's your money on for this?
I've got the 6-1 Ken Livingstone. I'm a liar, actually. I wish I had. 6-1 against Ken Livingstone. I'd love to have it. But vote. Whatever you do, whatever you think, whatever candidate, make sure you vote, because otherwise democracy doesn't work unless you make the effort to vote. Make sure they all vote. Natasha, you'll be voting. I'll be voting. We're all going to vote.
And you've always wanted to meet this man, haven't you?
Good to see you.
Do you know why she stays warm, viewers? Because she's been stunned all afternoon with a hot water bottle.
I'll cuddle up to her. That's why she stays warm, poor girl.
Sadly had hot water bottle. It's been a bit cold, but it's been a brilliant day, hasn't it?
It has indeed. You know, the great thing about this is that this is politics in action. There's a lot of very ordinary people here. Their first chance to meet the mayoral candidates, and there's been a lot of issues talked over there, which is not bad for a Sunday afternoon here on the South Bank.
Not bad at all. Well, sadly, that's just about it. We hope you've enjoyed our visit to the Coin Street Festival. If you haven't already been to the polling station, do use that vote on Thursday. Goodbye and enjoy the rest of your very super Sunday.
Your place or mine. Come on, Natasha. Come on, love.
They are two of the smartest women on TV. Ever wondered how they would fare under pressure in the hot seat? Well, I'll be turning up the heat on both of them in a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire celebrity special as part of ITV's Day of Promise, battling for a charity of their choice for serious money. See how they do.
Bank Holiday Monday at 9 on ITV.
Colours make